So you're taking a break from work?
My dog needed me.
Okay. So what do you think the worst thing is of having this stupid cancer during a pandemic?
Not being able to go anywhere on vacation because everything's closed.
Any other reasons for not going on vacation?
What do you mean?
Me not feeling well?
I would drag you on vacation.
Oh, okay. Starting this journey 2 years ago, I honestly thought I was handling it really strong, considering I had been given a benign diagnosis of colon polyps that needed to be removed, only to find out a few days before that surgery that I actually had stage 4 metastatic leiomyosarcoma. Quite a switch from one possible outcome to another. And not really knowing much about LMS, I did all my research, of course, and heard all the horror stories back then. And even though my prognosis was like 2 years, I've already beaten that, as you all know from one of my previous videos, that on April 26th, I beat that odd. And I thought everything was good. When I had the diagnosis and my first surgery, I felt really good. I had chosen not to do adjuvant chemotherapy at the time, and I just felt really good after the surgery. In fact, in one of my first videos, I talk about how I felt guilty that I felt so good during this journey so far. I just thought you have cancer, you'd feel like crap. And was able to spend some time, even though it wasn't NED as we originally thought, I was able to spend time that summer and enjoying myself and doing what needed to be done, and thought it would continue on that way. It wasn't until my second surgery in September, I guess, and but that I really haven't felt good since then. I've been on chemo since that second surgery. So I've had 4 different types of chemos. I've been on a clinical trial, and I'm on a different chemo to see what happens. The issue is, everyone is different. Everyone reacts to the treatments and the chemos differently. I'm no different than that. And my tumors are just so aggressive that they tend to bypass the chemos. And there's not to say that possibly there's some obscure one or one that we haven't done or a combination we haven't tried that possibly, very possibly could work. But the odds are that it wouldn't. And I've been doing these chemos and feeling miserable. I've tolerated them pretty well, I have to say. I haven't had a lot of the major horrible side effects that a lot of people get with chemo. I've been very lucky that way. And maybe that's, something, a sign that's supposed to say, hey, keep going, whatever. And I'm not giving up. I don't want people to ever think I'm giving up on any decision I make. Whatever decision I make on my life or my health is a decision, and it's a positive one, and it's the right one for me. So everybody has to go at this looking at it as an individual basis based on all the information you have, what type of cancer you have, what prognosis, whatever it is, what your doctors say. You have to make that individual choice. So I've recently been faced with this individual choice of, do I continue on with chemo and hope that something will finally kick in, but being miserable, even as mildly miserable as it is, not being able to enjoy food, not being able to walk around very far, not, dealing with a lot of severe pain. Is that something I want to do? Or do I want to enjoy life, even if it means maybe having a year or two short or a couple months short, whatever it is, in order to enjoy life, in order to be able to do things with my family, in order to be able to go out and enjoy food, well, hopefully be able to go out at some point with this pandemic, being able to do things in comfort. And that's, that choice between, do you continue on treatments or do you enter hospice? And I'm not going to make this a big hospice thing. I think people can do their own research on hospice, but I want to dispel one of the misconceptions of it, is that everyone seems to have this assumption that if you go into hospice, that means your deathbed. You've got a few weeks left, and you're just gonna lie in bed or whatever, and that's it. And that's not the case. That's unfortunately what's been associated with hospice, because most people do wait until that time. They wait until all options have been taken up, and they are on their deathbed. They're not moving, they're not talking, and so they've spent all this time miserable, and then they, get into hospice and they die fairly quickly. What hospice is really there for is to make you feel comfortable as possible, to be able to do the things you want to do, or that you're able to do with whatever time you have left. And that time could be 6 months or it could be 6 years. It really can be. I was speaking to a hospice counselor who said they have somebody that they work with who's been in hospice for 5 years. And yes, there's certain criteria you have to meet to get into hospice, but I would rather spend the time feeling good if there's no chance for any kind of chemo to work, which seems to be the case. That doesn't mean there isn't anything out there, but for me to find it, and with the aggressiveness of my tumors, it's pretty slim that I'll be able to find anything. So when I go back to my story, I really thought I was really strong when I got diagnosed. I'm not afraid of dying. I just don't want to die necessarily right now. I still say I have a lot of things to do that I want to do. And I hope that whatever I choose, if this chemo doesn't work out, I hope it works. But if it doesn't work, that I have a year or so left to be able to do some of those things. But if I can't, I am not afraid to die. I want people to know that. I don't know that I'm ready yet. And that's where my concern comes from. I was ready, I thought, when I had my diagnosis, but I also had it in my mind that after my diagnosis that I would be around at least 5 years. And I don't know that that's the case anymore. And I was really hoping to be around so that I can enjoy some of that, a lot more of the time, and do some of those things that I really want to do. And I'm finding that I'm not as strong as I thought, and it's not unnatural, of course. I mean, we're talking about our lives here, and I thought I had this strength that no matter what, I'm going to handle it. I do know that no matter what, I'm going to handle it. It just might not be the way I want to handle it. And again, I'm not afraid to die, but I just don't want to die at this point. What makes it really difficult, this decision, whether I, move into hospice, or let's just say it, if this chemo doesn't work and I move into hospice, is the time that it is. And there's no time that's convenient or good to have cancer. Nobody wants to hear those words, no matter how treatable it is, or what grade it is, what stage you are. Nobody wants to hear those words. There is no good time to have cancer. But I think about what's going on now, and I keep thinking, when is a door going to ever open for me? And I'm being selfish here now. I realize that I'm not the only one going through this. But there are times I feel like I am, and it's more than the why me card, but I feel like having this cancer was being dealt one thing, not achieving the 5 years or whatever that I thought I would have to live after this diagnosis. Having that blown, it's not going to happen. Having the cancer come back so quickly and so rapidly, and having it now so spread out through my body that even if there was a cure, I don't know that it could get to every single tumor in my body. The fact that the tumors are so damn aggressive, it seems like they just keep growing and doubling or whatever, and it's just not. It's just one blow after another. Starting a chemo and getting reactions that you weren't expecting, getting into the severe pain that I've been in because the tumors are pressing on things that they shouldn't be pressing on, going through radiation, all this stuff that are just doors that feel like doors slamming in my face. And then to top it off with this virus, this COVID-19 virus that makes your life completely upside down as if it wasn't already. You can't go anywhere. You have to be ultra protective. Somebody like me that has metastasis to my lungs, also with well over 100 nodules or tumors in my lungs. If I got COVID-19, there's no way I would survive it. And the horrible thought of being stuck in a hospital by yourself, not being able to see anybody, and then dying of a virus that has nothing to do with your cancer after you've been battling this cancer is insane. And it just feels like, okay, what else are you going to throw on me? Haven't I had enough thrown on me? And then I think about, okay, what if this chemo doesn't work and I go into hospice and we start feeling better, but things aren't open and we can't do anything. And believe me, I'm not one of these people that wants anything to open sooner than it should. I'm scared to death that things are opening too soon and we're going to have an even worse wave of this virus because some people just have no understanding whatsoever of medicine or science or how this disease spreads, and they don't listen to the experts. So I'm one to listen to the experts and think that we should open slower, but that's a detriment on me. I don't know how much time I have left. And if I only have to the end of the summer and things don't open up, what have I just done? I mean, maybe I should have stayed on chemo and been miserable for the summer in hopes that it might starve off sometime or give me some time. But in reality, I know that's not the case. I'm not going to gain any new time if the chemos don't work. So, but it's a thought, and I just feel like there's got to be something good that could come out of this whatever. And my hope and goal, and I pray with all my might that I will have sometime this year that things are open, we'll be able to join friends and get together, and also, as Tony mentioned at the beginning, vacation. I want one more, because I was in such severe pain during such a large portion of my vacation last year that I deserve a vacation that's pain-free. And even though it's probably not going to be the vacation I want, anytime spending with Tony and being able to do things will be a pleasure, and that's really what I want. So this is just an awful time, not only in the Earth's history, I think, but in cancer patient or any patients who have immunodeficiencies. This is just an awful time, and I feel for all of you, and I hope that you are able to get out and do things. And I'll be honest, I've gone, it's a thrill to be able to get in my car and go to the Walgreens drive-through and pick up a prescription just so I can get out of the house and feel semi-normal, even though it's just to a drive-through. I look forward to the day that we can go out to a restaurant, and I hope that happens at some point soon. But I hope you all are dealing with this as best as you can. It's certainly not an easy trip. The journey sucks. Like I said, it is a roller coaster, up and down every day with something different. And you all know that. Everybody who's faced this, you already know that. So I do wish you well. And I hope that all of you are doing well. And if you get anything out of this, actually, I would like to hear, your thoughts on this, on what it's like going through this type of situation during a pandemic. It's absolutely insane. So would love to hear your comments on that. And then, but always, thank you very, very much for watching. I appreciate that you spend the time to spend a little time with me. And as always, if you have questions, just let me know. And I will try to answer any questions that I can. So wishing you the very best of days. And again, thank you for watching.